Hi everybody, welcome to our latest tasting video. We're going to start doing these for all of our bottle releases here at Crooked Run. Today we'll be tasting Saving Light, which is our Saison with Hallertau Blanc, and then we'll be tasting Supernatural, which is our Imperial Saison with Hibiscus. Two really special beers here. It's been a little while since we've done some Belgian styles, and it's cool to see these coming back. And these are beers we've done for quite a while, so it's going to be fun. The first beer we're tasting is Saving Light. That's the big bottle over here. It's our Saison hopped with Hallertau Blanc. McKinnen, you want to go ahead and give that bottle a pop?
Get the opener.
Oh, Brad's got the opener. So these are Belgian-style beers, Saisons, singles, triples, doubles, Dubels. These are some of the most classic beer styles. Brewing tradition goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. They're some of my favorite styles to drink. You get some really unique yeast-driven characteristics in these beers that you don't necessarily get in other ales. Saving Light here, hopped with Hallertau Blanc, and it's one that we've been making for a couple years now. McKinnen is our head brewer here. McKinnen, do you want to tell us a little bit about the history of Saving Light? And Brad, you can chime in if you've got anything to add as well.
So actually, I think Brad can probably describe the history a little bit more, since the beer was already a Crooked Run staple before I started. So,
I started brewing this beer as a home brewer in probably like 2011, 2012. This was my house beer. Very simple Saison. At the time, we just used Cascade and Centennial hops I grew at home, and whatever we had pretty much around. Simple, cheap beer to make. Very clean, classic Saison. We added Hallertau Blanc to it here just to get a little bit of white wine punch to it. It's kind of the way we prefer it, so that's how we modified it.
So people usually think of Saisons as kind of farmhousey beers. I don't think this one is overly farmhousey. What kind of notes are you guys getting out of this?
so I get a lot of citrus out of it. You definitely get the kind of white wine characteristic from the Hallertau Blanc, but for me, there's kind of a bright lemon.
Yes, citrus peel.
Almost kind of slight like candied orange a little bit.
Mm-hmm. It's really nice. That hop, that white wine character, that's all the Hallertau Blanc.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think the yeast strain that we used is kind of elevating that a little bit, but for the most part, it's a healthy dose of Hallertau Blanc.
So you guys do dry hop this beer with just a really light dry hop. It seems like the dry hop kind of changes batch to batch. We've done Sots, we've done some other things. You said you started with Centennial, I believe.
Centennial and Cascade. Yeah, super simple hops.
So the Hallertau is pretty consistent, and it's the Whirlpool hop. So what does a Whirlpool hop do to kind of affect a beer and the characteristics in the beer?
So, I mean, for Whirlpool, it's really giving a lot of aroma to it. It gives a little bit of bitterness, especially we don't cool down our Whirlpool for this beer. So it goes right in at flame out, so around 210, 212. But it really just kind of drives the really aromatic characteristic there. And then the dry hop, our kind of opinion is that all Saisons should have some sort of a dry hop. It just kind of elevates the beer a little bit more, kind of makes it pop. In this case, we ended up using Centennial again, just to give it a little bit of a fresh rewrite.
So Saisons use a lot of different grain bills, depending on what you want to get out of the Saison. What are you guys using in Saving Light here?
This is super simple. It's just Pilsner, Munich. There's a little bit of wheat. Nothing too over the top.
Really just a touch of wheat.
Yeah.
So
that a lot of the Saisons, we try to keep it very, very basic, whether it's clean or sour side. There's no point to get too heavy-handed with specialty malts or something in a Saison. You can really muddle a lot of that like bright flavor.
I mean, really, these beers should be super simple to make, and they're really like yeast-driven. So the malt doesn't really need to do a whole lot of talking. It just needs to be a really fresh malt that kind of slight cracker note to it, and that's really all we're going for. Let the yeast talk, and then
mash pretty low temperature, so you've got thin body, not super thin, but nice and dry, so it can just be a nice dry beer.
Yep.
How close is this recipe to the first one that you did, and how close is this to when you started using Hallertau? Like, how close is this to your original Saving Light?
This beer hasn't really
it's not really changed as far as the malt bill goes. I mean, I've been here for 3 years now, and I've brewed several batches of this on the clean side, and the grain bill's always pretty much been the same. Pilsner, touch of Munich, touch of wheat. That's it.
This is one of my favorite beers. This is one of the first beers that we had on tap when we opened our expansion in 2017. That's when I kind of came to Crooked Run. Really enjoyed this beer. We recently made a pretty big change in the production of this beer. It used to be made entirely on the clean side, and then we would can the beer. Now we're fermenting this beer in barrels on the other side of the brewery. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
What was the motivation to kind of change that process?
I think one of the big factors is we fermented it this time with our house Saison strain, which is it's a diastatic strain. You don't really want to put that on the clean side. It's pretty hard to get out of tanks, but it makes a really, really good clean Belgian beer. Really, it's hard to say clean when we're making it on the sour side. There's potential. All of our equipment over there has Brett and stuff in it, but as far as this beer, as young as it is, it tastes clean right now. But down the road, you might get a little bit of Brett in this beer.
And that was kind of a conscious decision that we made. Was when you typically have some of these more farmhouse style beers from Belgium, they're not all clean. You might have a Phantom Saison, for example, that has Brett characteristics in it, and we were okay with that. It's using the same barrels that we ferment Brett in, and if it picks up a little bit, it picks up a little bit. Obviously, the end result is if it tastes good and we're happy with it and we're proud of it, then we're going to put it out. So,
and when are we releasing this beer?
So this beer will be released, I believe it's May 29th, so the last Friday of the month.
Fantastic. Really looking forward to this. Look out for it, guys, because it's coming your way very, very soon. Do you guys want to finish these up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheers.
That's so good.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And the only thing I would add for that beer is if anybody wants to sit on it for a few weeks and just let it lager in their fridge, just chill out in their fridge, nice and cold, and get super clear, it's going to do nothing but make that beer better. We like our Saisons to be crystal clear like lagers, and that it's super bright. Some of the phenols and stuff kind of drop out a little bit, and it's really clean and crisp.
Yeah, I think this is definitely one that pick up 2 bottles, drink one right away, and then save the other one for a few months down the road. It's only going to get better, in my opinion.
All right, guys, we are moving on to beer number 2, Supernatural. If you guys want to hand me that Saving Light, I'll get that out of the way. We can do the honors on the Supernatural. So Supernatural is a very, very special beer to Crooked Run. It's a beer that we've been brewing for a couple years now. It's an Imperial Saison, which means very high ABV, and it's got lots of hibiscus in it as well. It has this fantastic color to it. It's got a really beautiful kind of tart dryingness. I wouldn't say it's a sour beer at all. More tart than sour. And it won us a gold medal at the World Beer Cup in 2016, which was like a really big moment for Crooked Run and kind of a turning point in terms of the styles of beer that we were able to do and the direction in which we were going at the time. Yes, let's sample, guys. Let's kind of talk about the nose here. McKinnen, what are you getting on the nose?
So to me, Supernatural has always been very, very floral. I get notes of obviously the hibiscus, but the strawberry note on it is incredible for me.
To me, one of the biggest things is white wine. You get this beer is heavily dry hopped with Nelson. So I mean, we dry hop it at almost a rate we do with our IPAs. It pops when this beer is super fresh, as this bottle is right now.
Oh yeah, I don't know a single wine drinker that would turn this beer down.
Mhm.
So the hibiscus just plays along so well with that white wine note.
So gold medal winner at the World Beer Cup, Belgian style other, 2016. So we've made this beer for at least 4 years, but how far back does the history of Supernatural go, Brad?
This beer I started making in like early 2014. I kind of got inspired by it was a hibiscus limeade that I had. I can't remember where it was at. But I had a hibiscus limeade drink, and I made a hibiscus lime version of this beer originally. And we actually make a sour version of it with that the original way. We call that otherworldly. But this beer was the original one I made frequently, and it was one of the first beers I brought to Lee and Jake.
Yeah, really?
So, like, kind of one of my introductions before I started working here, I brought Lee and Jake a grumbler of this beer.
How far back did you start homebrewing?
2010.
Wow, right on. So you had been homebrewing for a little while before you came up with this one.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. How often do we currently release this beer? It's like once a year, right?
So yeah, about once a year. I guess the 2019 version, we actually did not bottle any of it. It was only a Leesburg exclusive beer, so all draft. And then this is the 2020 version. So
this is fantastic. I've done drinking of some of the old ones, and the old ones kind of clear out a little bit, and they get even more crisp and kind of smoother. But this has like all those great phenols, yeast characteristics in there. There's so much fruit character, and there's not any fruit in the beer. Saisons, Belgian beers in general, usually have like these crazy smelling noses on them. You get these great yeast-driven characteristics. What is it about Belgian beers that produces these unique smells? Like, where does that come from?
Belgian yeast in general produces more esters, polyphenols, and usually the higher temperature you ramp it up to, the more of those you're going to get. So with ours, I think the way we like to approach it, ours are going to be more mild on some of those some of those flavors, because you can get too aggressive. Sometimes you can get too much banana, clove. If it punches you in the mouth, you don't really get any of those adjuncts and stuff that we spent all this time putting into this beer, so it'd be a waste. So we start this beer pretty low. We start our fermentation below 70 degrees, and then we ramp it up. So that first 3 days is really when you're going to drive a lot of those esters and stuff.
Are those phenols driven more by the strain that you pick, or is it more in the grain that you pick for your grain bill?
Yeast has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of it's yeast. This is kind of similar to the Saving Light malt bill. There's a few other additions, such as honey malt is one of them.
Yep.
Brad and I are huge fans of Gambrinus honey malt. And so there's a touch of that in there, which kind of brings up that sweetness. But for the most part, it's, again, Pilsner, Munich, and wheat. So very, very simple grain bill.
Awesome. So these have been like two really great Saisons. I love that we're doing barrel fermenting of the Saving Light now. What are the future plans for Belgian-style beers at Crooked Run?
So I will kind of back up just a little bit. This is the first version of Supernatural that we bottle condition.
I didn't know that. I thought we had bottle condition.
So all previous years have been force carved, and since we started the native culture side, everything over there is bottle condition, and we kind of got the hang of it. And I wanted to really kind of show off how good this beer can be, especially under natural carbonation. So going forward, Supernatural will always be in a 500 milliliter bottle, and it will be bottle conditioned. So
awesome. So I'm noticing a trend for bottle conditioning. Supernatural now. Saving Light is now bottle conditioned and fermented in barrels. Mm-hmm. So back to that other question. Where are we going with Belgian beers at Crooked Run?
So Belgian beers at Crooked Run will be kind of transitioned over to the native culture side, minus Supernatural. Supernatural will stay on the production side, keep it very clean. We do not want any sort of mixed fermentation going on with Supernatural. However, the rest of the Belgian series, we do have plans to kind of bring back Under the Native Culture brand. So kind of keep an eye out for that. You might see some triples come out. We did see a triple come out. You might see some quads, some doubles, singles coming forward. So
awesome. And Supernatural releases this Friday.
Yep.
So the video might be out after it. Maybe not. It's the 15th. Friday the 15th, Supernatural is available. So if you're seeing this video this weekend, go pick you up some. And if you're seeing this on Friday and it's before 7 p.m., run out to the brewery and go buy some. Cheers, guys. This has been great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love tasting beers. Brad is our head of sour production here. McKinnen is our head brewer. I'm Zach. I'm the GM. Thanks for joining us. If you guys are members of the official Crun Society, that's our mug club. We have additional content. We've got some bottles of Supernatural from years past that we're going to be opening. We're going to do a little vertical tasting with some tasting notes. So cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll be doing another one of these next month, and I think we're going to do maybe some cans, mix it up a little bit, but it's going to be fun.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.